G'day guys, welcome back to the Aussie Gooner channel, and yes, you see 4 fucking boxes, and I'm in one of them, and at the moment you see a fresh fucking face. I'll get to him later on. He's wearing a really ugly fucking shirt. I think you guys can pick him. Don't forget to jump onto Instagram. Anything you see that says Marty Mariner, do yourself a fucking favour, send him a real fucking ugly message on Instagram. That's what I need you guys to fucking do. First up, we got Kenny Ken down there with a big smile because he knows what I'm fucking about. How you going, mate? All right, mate?
I'm okay, man. I'm just, we're down in England. I'll tell you, even though it's meant to be coming up last summer, it's very damp outside. Yeah. So even the flies are not going in, and then, it's like Derby mania. I think, but let's face it, all 4 of us, saying this is the biggest North London derby in years. But let's face it, where Arsenal and Spurs want to be at the moment in terms of fighting the top 4. 3 years ago, Spurs were in the Champions League final. Years back, Arsenal were going for the league. So as much as people are trying to hype this up, particularly Sky down here, it is where we don't want to be. We want to be higher because both clubs are massive clubs and should be aiming for higher.
Oh, spot on, mate. Spot on. I mean, Scotty, I know you're back on the channel today, mate. Really muchly appreciate you coming on, bro. Where are people going to find you, bro? I know you're in corners and shit in Sydney, in Western Australia, and in Sydney, in the corners and that. Where can they find you, bro? A lot of people ask the question.
Yeah, mate. Look, you can find me on a Tuesday or Thursday on It's a Football Thing. I co-host that with a Chelsea and a Manchester United fan, so that's always good fun, especially with their recent form. So if you jump onto YouTube and search the IFT Pod, you'll be able to find us. So, and Kenny, I'm shocked that it's cold and damp in England. Who'd have thought?
I know. You know what? I was speaking to Steve, and he was telling me about Australia, and then we always look at your country and we say how boiling it is, and we think it's like 12 months a year. But Steve was telling me around this kind of time, especially when it's boiling in England, look, our cricket season is quite cold in Australia. I mean, I could never really imagine that. But a lot of Brits who come over, who are here, they love Australia. They want to emigrate your country. So I've got a shed load of Brits who I don't particularly like. You can have them. They can.
Remember, that's how Australia started, mate. And look where the fuck we are now.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'll pay for their visas and everything. You know what I mean? James Corden, Piers Morgan. You can have them. You can have all the Love Island cast if you want. You
Tottenham.
Can have the Married at First Sight. I'll send them all over to your great
Tottenham.
country.
You can send Tottenham over here as well. Might as well.
I know.
Since you're sending this shit.
We want Spurs. No, the reason why we want Tottenham is because we won't have 2 games where we're going to have heart attacks. So we need Tottenham here.
Oh, we need that, and that's why I had to find myself an Australian spud. Hard. Look, I had to really dig deep, and you would not believe the shit I had to dig through to find a spud. But you know what? I come up with one, and he's half decent. That's the guy that's sitting to my left, Marty the Mariner, Senior Spud. Welcome to the channel. How you going, mate? How you going? All right?
Mate, I am very well. What an honour it is to be graced by you gentlemen. It's what dreams are made of, isn't it? It's what dreams are made of.
Oh, of course, mate. Of course. I mean, you know how it is when you're in a room with your betters. It's always going to make you feel that much more important. You're finally in the limelight, and the only way you got there was a whole bunch of gooners had to be there to bring you some. But it's all right. We do that. We bring you trophies. We bring you limelight. But guys, look, this North London derby, just like Kenny Ken was saying, like I was looking at it, and I was hoping that Arsenal wouldn't make a shambolic run and take it down to this North London derby. Now, look, this North London derby could go either way. We've got 4 points on them. But we win this game, right? Arsenal win this game for me. And we can pretty much say to the Spuds, it's done and dusted. Because after that, it's impossible. But my issue here is it's so tight. And with our form over that way, I just look at it and think to myself, this could go pear-shaped real quick. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but it's just so many different bits and pieces. Like last time we won there, was it, 2014, 2015? Am I wrong? Does that make sense?
It's Thomas Ricky. I think the
Rosicky.
record is
Rosicky.
Yeah, Ricky. There was a time in the league, Spurs didn't beat us in the league for about 11 years, and they didn't beat us for 9 years in any football match. But what's happening right now? If you look at Arsenal's record, we've only won twice there in 15 years. So if you look at it, in 2007, we won 3-1 after Golden Goal down. But after that, there's been a few draws and obviously some hammerings that Spurs are giving us. So you look at our record at the Emirates Stadium against Tottenham, they've only beaten us once. They've only beaten us once at the Emirates Stadium, or twice if you take the League Cup game. But if you talk about the league, they've only beaten us once in the Emirates Stadium since we've been there since 2006. And before that, they didn't beat us for another 13 years. So Spurs' record at Arsenal is probably 2 wins in 29 years. So it's horrendous at in both times. Like everyone says, form goes out the window, but let's face it, home advantage is always paramount in these games. If you look at it from the periods I just mentioned.
Ah, definitely.
I think that's the power of the fans, though. I mean, it's. I could only imagine what the atmosphere would be like at a North London derby, and I know you're going to that, Kenny, but I think the fans play a pivotal role in that. And thinking about this match and our record, you're never happy with a draw. Yeah, I don't think fans should ever go into, particularly fans of Arsenal, you shouldn't go into a match hoping for a draw. But when you look at the circumstances, I don't think I'd lose too much sleep over a draw at their ground. When you consider the record, you consider the context of the table, you consider that they're in some good form as well, and they've got an elite manager. So a draw wouldn't be the worst result in the world, but we don't want to draw with Spurs. We want to beat them. We want to put their Champions League hopes in the ground. We want to end it.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to take it away from them like we've taken everything else away. We took North London away, put it on the fucking map finally, and then, brought some glory to the fucking area, you know what I mean? Now, Marty, I mean, I know we've been talking a lot of this and that, and I've got to give you a fucking chance. I mean, that's what it's going to be like in a game. Arsenal just fucking all over you, and you're going to get about 2 seconds to chat. But, Marty, what do you reckon, mate? I have to do this because I want to.
It's natural. It's fine. It's good. It's good. Now, look, Tottenham need to win this game. We need to win this game. To me, this is a very isolated game. It's the first time that we're going to have a full stadium for an NLD in the new stadium. So the Arsenal fans will be there. It'll be packed. The atmosphere, jealous of Kenny Ken being there, absolutely. Yeah. But it's a game that Tottenham have to win. We can't go there and go, well, if we get a point, great. It's just got to be on from the start. And I think, look, picking an Arsenal result or picking a Tottenham result over this last 2 months, you're flipping a coin because you can lose 3 on the spin, you can win. It's just been all over the joint. So what's going to happen? I've got no idea, but I reckon it's an isolated game. As in, I think that we had a good run against Liverpool. You guys have had a couple of some nice wins in a row. I don't know what that adds up to, but it's going to be an event. It's absolutely going to be an event.
Yeah, look, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that game against Liverpool, that put a big stamp on where Tottenham are at the moment. But after seeing Liverpool against Villa, I don't know if you guys saw that, and the struggle streak. Did you see how?
I was doing a couple of podcasts, a Tottenham one and an Arsenal one, and I on the out of the corner of my eye, I was thinking, you know what? Liverpool look ragged.
Yeah,
really
lethargic.
ragged.
And I looked at that and I went to myself, well, this seems like, for me, the same Liverpool that faced Tottenham almost. And I'm not taking away from Tottenham's point from Liverpool. No, I won't. No, I've got to give them credit where credit's due. They played well. But when I saw the goals scored and the way Liverpool tracked back in that game, you could see the defenders were just so slow to get back into position, which is unlike Liverpool. Liverpool are a well-drilled team. When it comes to positioning and formation, they're quick to get back in. Trent goes forward, someone slots in position. It's mesmerising to watch. But against Spurs, and this could be because of Spurs playing the way they did, they almost looked like they were tripping over themselves. They didn't look like themselves, and they looked very lethargic. And against Villa, they looked like Very much the
Yeah,
same.
but you know the thing with Tottenham, and I think that's where we could find out as well, is that they have this sort of like, like way where they suck you in. For instance, Jose Mourinho, whatever Spurs fans think of him, he's turned Harry Kane into a complete footballer, not just a centre forward, complete footballer. So what Harry Kane does is that he can come out the front and then go deep and then pick up passes for Kulusevski and Son. So what happens right now is that defenders get sucked in to Harry Kane when they don't need to do that. So when they get sucked in, the minute they do it, Spurs can run in behind. You look at the goals they scored against us last season at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, is us getting sucked in by Harry Kane, especially the first goal. He gets sucked in, Gabriel gets tight, and then what's happened to space in between Song, where he was using Spurs runners as decoys before he scored that excellent goal. And I think another thing as well is that you got Bentancur as well, who can pass the ball accurately as well. So they have got that situation where if you try to suck Harry Kane in, you're leaving space to Bentancur. So like Xhaka and El Neni have to remember to take turns, but not to get sucked in. And then people, either Holding or Gabriel, just got to remember, you know what? Unless Harry Kane's in your box, don't go after him.
Yeah, don't man mark him. Go more zonal.
Yeah, mark him. And then leave that to El Neni to do that, and then we just take our risk. So that's one of the reasons why Liverpool had problems, is that the way Spurs play. One of the things about Tottenham, they play their best football, because it's a Mourinho team, in my opinion, on the break.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you get better personnel, you'll start playing like you did against the Poch, where you press teams in it. And then when you won a press, you went attacked in numbers, and that's why you had players like Song, Dele Alli, Ericsson, and Kane all getting double figures in one season. So that's the football that I think makes Spurs successful. But tomorrow, and now Liverpool struggling, this the Harry Kane enigma of, is he a striker or is he a Peter Beardsley type?
So just on that too, because you guys play Newcastle, is it 3 days after? I think it's the Monday night
right,
Newcastle.
4 days after, but that's right,
that's right, yeah. So, I mean, there's the Tottenham game and then there's that game. You win one of them and you've got Champions League. Is there any thought in Arteta's mind to go, look, it's a North London derby, but let's just contain a little bit and not go stupid, and then we'll go for it at Newcastle? Is that a thought that Arsenal could have?
I wouldn't have thought so, because what's happening right now is that Arsenal have got this kind of conundrum where if we concede the first goal, we're vulnerable and we'll probably end up not winning the match. But when we score first, we just got this record where we go on and win the game. So I think in terms of Arteta, he is going to try and attack your fullbacks, Romero and Davies.
Yeah, he's going to go wide.
And, so Martinelli and Saka have to play. Forget Smith Rowe and forget anyone else. You can even get away with playing like Lacazette instead of like Eddie. But those two are the only way we're going to be able to get a foot into the game and get some sort of a platform. If we don't get, that's the thing.
We'll see how much Arteta's grown as a manager. Now, I didn't want Arteta appointed, right? When he was given the job, I thought it was well out of his depth. Yeah. I thought it was a weak move and a move that lacked ambition from the club. But you have to give credit where credit's due. We are performing well at the moment, but we do have the odd dip in us. We haven't been a consistently very good team. I'm curious to see how he sets the boys up and instructs them to play, because there have still been many times, and it seems like a modern Arsenal thing, where we're in a position where we could push and kill a game, but instead we try and revert into our shell and hold it out. Now, our defense has actually been pretty shaky in recent times.
Yeah.
It's been covered up by really good attack. It's almost like that great defense, poor attack from the start of the season has flipped. So I want to see Mikel Arteta be brave. I want to see him take the game to Spurs. But I also don't want to see us be reckless and go gung-ho. We've really got to do almost what we did against West Ham. Press them, take advantage of an error, be clinical, and let them know that we are going to press them and hit them on the counter. Put a little bit of fear into Spurs.
It's a good point. For me, I'll look at Spurs, right? And I know the formation that they always play in the 3-4-3, 3-4-3 works well. But in a 3-4-3, when you've got a team that's going to come out and have wide men, that's what's going to stretch you. Now, the one weakness that I see on Spurs is a similar weakness to what you see with Arsenal, is defensively not the best. Defensively, they are shaky. It's them moving forward. Now, I noticed that when they're playing and they're trying to play the ball between their midfielders and the defenders, that's when they're shaky. And it's not their midfielders that's a problem. No. It's the defenders that can't play the ball. And that's the issue. I mean, those players there, those defenders are probably not going to be here next season, but they let them down. And I think Arsenal, what they have to do here is they want to keep the ball between the defenders and the midfield for friggin' Tottenham, take advantage of their mistakes, and then go wide and then hopefully exploit.
That's where Nketiah comes into it, isn't it? Because you look at Nketiah's goal, obviously, in Sunday, and you look at the goal he scored against Chelsea. It's where all managers seem to insist that you play out the back. Everyone's got to play out the back. So what's happening, right, is that it's like they forgive you if you make a mistake, because the ultimate thing is that every club wants to be able to start an attack from every part of the pitch, not just in the midfield to the last third. They start from the goalkeeper. For instance, Man City, Ederson, he creates assists with that one with the left foot, and gets players like Sterling or Jesus or Morris at the game where he can start attacks. And I think that's the obsession. But as I said, we got a player called Ben White. He wants to try and be that player who's good on the ball and brings teams out and attack. But that's the expense of his defending. I think Tottenham, when you look at the Spurs and you think about players who can play at the back, I think that as defenders, as a partnership, Romero and Dyer are a very good partnership. But in terms of playing the ball out, although Dyer's playing in midfield, I don't see both of them trying to play the ball. But Conte will insist that they try and do that. And that's where we got to be like terriers, whoever it's Eddie or Lacquer playing tomorrow. That's
the one weakness I've noticed at Tottenham. I look at that and I say, that's where I want the ball. I want to stay in that third. I don't have to be in their box. I just want them to play in between each other and just press the midfield. Just put the pressure on the fucking midfield, and then you bring in your Martinelli and your Saka just a little bit more narrow, and then take it out.
Part of that press as well, the first press as well, is Odegaard as well. He divides opinion, Odegaard, doesn't he? Because when we all had our eyes on other players, the player from Lille, that we should have got 2 years ago, and we just look at him, we think, right, that's a more attractive player. You know what I mean? Or Auer. I'm a massive fan of Auer. I'd rather have him than Odegaard. But Odegaard's,
Yeah, we're stuck with him now. And honestly, Marty, I don't know if you agree, but from us, we can see how we want to take on Spurs, right? I can see that. For you looking at Arsenal, right? Are you thinking press, and just try and keep Arsenal in the box? What are you thinking from Spurs? Because I honestly think that's the only thing that you guys have got going for you, is to press us.
Yeah, I think we have to, because I think it's going to be you imagine that crowd behind you the first part of the game. We're not going to sit back and say, here, have the ball. This is not going to be a game where Tottenham's going to have 30% of the game and then hope to catch on the counter. Yeah. We've got to press. We've got to put it on you blokes from the start. We've got to win the ball wherever we can, and we've got to move it around. This can't be a game where Tottenham just are passing it along, Lloris back to Romero, back to Dyer. It can't be one of those games. Get it. We've got to get it forward. We lose it. We've got to press. We've got to get the ball back as soon as possible. Because if we give you guys the ball, you're capable of doing something with it, and that's how good you guys have been.
All good, Kenny Ken. But I honestly think that's fair enough point. Because if you guys press us, you know what it's like when Arsenal get pressed. And I think, Scott, you'd agree.
Shaky. Man, I still, even though we've been much better at it this year, every time we start playing the ball along the back, a little piece of my soul dies. And, mate, it's just squeaky bum time when that happens. But, Marty, I want to ask you, as a Spurs fan, right, and this is not banter, because if you ask me what kind of players from Spurs I maybe fear a little bit going into this game, I can tell you some. But as a Spurs fan looking at this Arsenal team and the way we've been playing, who are you worried about most hurting your team?
The key battles.
You know what? I think, yeah, you know what? It's the way that you guys have played together. I mean, you know, if someone said that to me about Spurs, I could say Harry Kane, I could say Son, I get that.
Yep.
But Arsenal are a unit. And that's what worries me, is because I think all over the park, you guys have got your strengths. And when you play in the same way and you're getting it together, that's when you're dangerous. I think a ball can fall at Son's feet. He can beat 3 players and score a goal. Harry Kane can do the same. But as a team, we've got our weaknesses, and if we can fall apart just as quick. But Arsenal, if you guys are on the same page, if you're doing the same thing, that's what worries me, because I don't think there's that world class. You got some great players, but there's no world class. Give him the ball, look at him go. I think it's a unit, it's a team, and if you guys are all doing the whole thing, that's what worries me. And again, that's what goes back to the start of the game. We have to put it on you guys at the start. Yeah. Don't let you have the time. Put you out of shape a little bit, because if we don't and we let you play football, it ain't going to be a good result.
That's a fair fucking point, mate. Because honestly, if we're allowed any sort of freedom on that ball, if we're allowed freedom, we're allowed to break you guys and break in through that from that midfield to that defense, I think it'll be fucking a shambles show. I think if Arsenal go up 1-0, at White Hart Lane, that's going to be, and this is not talking shit, I just believe it. I think if we go up 1-0 at White Hart Lane, that's going to be the beginning of the end for Tottenham. Because if it's just going to be, the pressure's going to come in, and you're going to see the crowd just go woo, and that's when it's going to be like, here we go again, from here to here.
See, that's the thing. You've got a good point there, because like if you think about Arsenal, reason why we've got to rely on the wings is because our best player probably since January has been Thomas Partey. Now, I'm convinced if Thomas Partey was in a team and, Kieran Tierney was playing, even though he hasn't been playing his best football, but if Kieran Tierney gave us that kind of experience, I think we'd have been out of sight by now in terms of top 4, because I think if all of them were fitting on it, I don't see the performance, the Brighton performance at home where he decimated a midfield, and we'll probably beat Southampton, because both Thomas Partey gives us control of midfield, so that there isn't a kind of an avenue for Spurs. Because if you look at our games against like Man United, Chelsea, West Ham, and even Leeds, there were loads of areas of that game where it will give a team like Spurs a lot of encouragement, because the Man United game, when we were 2-0 up, they were giving the ball away. Cedric was struggling. He was struggling against Sancho. And then Chelsea, the first half, even though it was 2-2, was a mess, because it was a game of Colts players. So we still got that in us. And the first half against West Ham weren't great, even though we went 1-0. So we're getting there, because one, we scored the first 2, and we're probably getting there by athleticism and our ability and on the break, where it's against probably tired teams. But in terms of Spurs, again, there is going to be some sort of encouragement. The only situation is who you pick and your midfield as well, because one of the things I see with Tottenham, when they're on song, Højbjerg tends to lend himself into that attack and get even extra numbers. When Spurs are struggling, he's on his heels. So it depends if you can get Højbjerg in that sort of trying to create an attack and get you on that front foot. If he can't get you on that front foot and you want to retreat, it's paradise for Arsenal. And
the problem is because if Højbjerg starts dropping too deep, then Harry starts dropping too deep. I don't mind Harry coming off the front line to receive and making space. That's cool. But not when he's doing it every single time we've got the ball and he's turning and he's in he's in our own half. He's on the edge of the bloody circle. So, Højbjerg does need to stay a lot higher. And if he does, because he can play a good ball, he's probably, I'm the first person who looks at Højbjerg and goes, what are you doing half the time? But the guy can play a killer pass. And so if he gets it and goes forward and starts doing it, Harry stays higher, Sonny's up with him, and we're looking at a totally different team. And I think, one thing I have noticed we've started doing, and we were talking about the playing around at the back, is that Harry does drop off, and Dyer and Romero especially are looking for those long early balls to Sonny and Kulusevski. They're trying to get those guys one-on-one because they don't want to invite the pressure, and it plays the ball up the other end. So I think, that's something I'll be watching in the game. I think Højbjerg needs to play a lot higher, but I think you'll see Dyer and Romero especially.
You see it a lot of times when you
early ones.
That I've noticed. I said, hang on here, what's going on here? But I understand it because of the way you've been forced to play. Because I think,
absolutely.
when the Poch was there, it was like press, and then get numbers forward.
Yeah,
and it's very, very effective. But it had towards the end of the season, that's probably when you got a bit knackered because
Kane getting injured all the time.
Yeah,
Kane was always injured under Poch.
You know, it's like Liverpool, where Klopp had them playing like that as well, rock and roll football, but he's kind of mixed it up. And I think that's where you've gone a bit different. You've gone from one extreme to another. You rely probably too much on a break, and that's against teams who will basically don't want to play against you. You can find it difficult. And then your biggest mistake, Brighton at home, and we did it ourselves, a team that keeps possession. We didn't have a midfield against Brighton, and they just absolutely murdered us. And you guys just think, all right, boom, sat back. But Brighton keep the ball. When are Brighton going to give you the ball? They never gave you the ball at all. Hence, both teams deserve to get beaten by Brighton because the managers got it wrong. Both managers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we also Brighton Munich did to Man United.
So.
That's it. He's one of the best in the business, and I think if arguably, he's basically a victim of his passport that big clubs and the top six will not employ an Englishman or Britishman, because on certain reasons that you can't put a genie back in the bottle.
Yeah,
Arsenal fans want the best coaches in Europe. They don't want, because they know that their continental stars would want a European manager rather than a British one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
fashionable, isn't it?
Yeah, but that back in the day, remember when Arsene Wenger got brought into this job, everyone was going, "What the fuck is this?"
Arsene who?
Yeah, exactly. Who's this bloke? We got to get a real. Yeah, back then it was Englishman. Yeah. It was an English coach. It was always an English coach.
We're very ignorant in England. We're very ignorant in England. Like it's like probably like we are with a cricket team. Like we want an Englishman to manage England. We want
call that a team.
We want British managers that have big clubs. But the fact is that once again, you can't invite British, foreign billionaires into our game in order to enhance it and improve our game in terms from a sponsorship and merchandise avenue, and bring all their expertise with them, and expect them to get the geezer who a British manager. It's going to be very, very hard for a British manager to get a big job, no matter how well they do. Eddie Howe is probably that's probably the bestest job he's ever going to get in Newcastle.
Yeah.
Can you imagine him at Tottenham, Arsenal? His name's always mentioned.
Yeah, but he never gets.
We always mention Graham Potter. His name's always getting mentioned, but would he get a chance? I don't see it.
No, I don't think so either. I think the British manager trait is done and dusted because it's lost its flair. It's all about a foreign manager, even foreign players. I mean, English youth they get a look, but it's always Arsenal link, foreign player. Well, once upon a time, back when I started following them, like seriously, we're talking about Ray Parlour, we're talking about Ian Wright, we're talking Tony Adams, David Seaman, Lee Dixon, Steve Bold. I just named a whole bunch of Englishmen real quick, and that would be the same with Tottenham. But those days are well and truly behind us. We're not looking at English talent as much. It's a shame, though.
Yeah, but anyway, for instance, most clubs nowadays, where's the local guy from Islington who's going to buy Arsenal? They just don't there. They haven't got enough money.
Nah. That's it. 2.1 billion is what we're worth now. They're going to want at least 3. And then we're talking pound.
Yeah.
But I still remember the day when wasn't it Trevor Francis, the first £1 million player? And
that's right. It was 79 from Nottingham Forest. Birmingham.
From Nottingham Forest. Yeah, and it was $1 million. You're kidding yourself. I mean, $1 million now probably doesn't even get you a trainee to clean the boots in the training room. Like it's totally flipped over. The English managers or British managers back in the day, the Alex Fergusons, the Bob Paisley, the Terry Venables, all those guys, you just don't see them. It's foreign managers. A player of equal ability that's born in France, apart from being born in Harlow, is is millions of pounds different just because of where they come from.
We all saw it with Pepe.
Otherwise,
we saw it with Pepe and Zaha. We saw it. We had Zaha here. We had Pepe there. We went for Pepe, and we all know we should have gone for Zaha.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely.
We're kicking ourselves with that. We're kicking with that, guys. I was looking at our lineups, and I know these aren't going to change. I don't think either lineup is going to change. I don't think Spurs are going to be changing the lineup. That's my opinion. I don't think Arsenal will be changing their lineup. I think both teams are going to hold their shape and go at it. But for me, what I was looking at is key battles. Where is the game won and lost between these two teams? Seriously, I honestly, where are the key battles going to be? Where are they going to be at different stages for fucking Spurs and Arsenal? But I'm wondering, where are our key battles and where are theirs? Seriously.
For me, one of the big concerns, and we've already touched on this, Harry Kane will drop.
Yeah.
He will drop a little bit deeper in order to open up space for players like Son. Now, we've seen so many teams get stung over that. I do worry with our defenders at times, especially with recent form. We've been shaky. We know that Gabriel is prone to lapses in concentration. If Rob Holding starts, we know that he has moments where his concentration lapses. I'm really concerned about our centre-backs being drawn out to go and meet Harry Kane and leaving a hell of a gap open for him to play Son through. Because regardless of your thoughts on Harry Kane, the guy can play a brilliant pass, and him and Son are almost telepathic. So I'm really worried about our defenders being drawn out because we know they've got it in their game.
Yeah.
And then opening up gaps that Son will not do what Sancho did. Sancho tore us up, but didn't finish. Son won't make that mistake.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. And that's another area where I think that, there is the midfield as well, as well. But, where we can hurt Spurs is, I look at you. He's got a bit of conundrum because in terms of like right back, he doesn't trust Emerson Royale, but he's playing him there just to keep this kind of shape. And then you've got a situation at the left-hand side. Davis is more dependable, but maybe he's got a temptation of playing Ryan Sessegnon there because of that, situation where if Harry Kane comes down comes in the midfield and he does a little interchange with Bentancur, not only have you got Kulusevski making the runs down the right, and you've got Son going through the middle, you also got Sessegnon who will get up there. But obviously the problem with Sessegnon is the end product. The end product isn't there. Yeah. And getting back as well. So that's a kind of conundrum where, we'd have to worry. But in terms of Arsenal, it's simple really. You want Gabriel on, basically on, Emerson Royal. You want him running Emerson Royal because you want Emerson Royal to be discouraged from coming up and lending a hand in the kind of outnumbering us in terms of Spurs' attack against our defence. And you want us probably the same with Ben Davies, where Ben Davies was Saka, because that's where Arsenal win this game with those two.
I honestly see Ben Davies. I reckon Ben Davies is going to get a card early on. I think he's going to try and take Saka out early. He's going to try and slow him down, and I think that's
same with Romero. But don't be surprised. But remember, we got Granit Xhaka.
Yeah,
Granit Xhaka. he can get so frustrated, and then get with Harry Kane and go into him and smash him one, or have a smash with Bentancur. So we got red cards waiting to happen out of both sides. You know what I mean?
Oh fuck.
Yep.
Marty,
but Harry will stand up. Harry won't dive anywhere, boys. Harry will stand up and he'll just cop it. He's not a diver.
He's not a diver.
On his feet, boys.
But great Xhaka.
Harry Kane is an Olympic and English diver. That's what he's going for next after his football fucking career, mate. You're doing proud.
He gets gold.
One thing about Granit Xhaka as well, he gets excited. When you want a calm head, he's the last person you want there, especially in a derby day, because one of the things with Granit Xhaka is that you get him on the ball, not bad. Good spray of the ball, good deep line midfielder. But if you get someone with pace run at him,
just grab,
we've had
bang.
Grab, foul, can't help himself. And the thing about it, he's not even good at doing the tactical fouls. That's how, what I mean?
Technical foul. Granit Xhaka, technical foul.
Europe. I mean, if you look at Man City, the best exponent of the tactical fire is Ferrandinho.
Yeah.
Like it'd be a shoulder, or he'll fall in front of you,
Or a hip.
or what he'll do, he'll get the ball but go through you, and if it's
Xhaka
right,
goes
stop.
2 feet, studs up.
Xhaka doesn't even touch the ball.
What? What?
Yeah.
You know where he got that from? You know, he got that from Mustafi. Every time he'd do a foul, you see Mustafi.
Yeah.
Dude, you just broke his knee,
it.
bro. What are you doing this for? The guy's fucking in a stretcher. What?
Yeah, I think what's happened. I think they're both like speak the kind of same that come from their forefathers, isn't it? So they probably speak together. But it is one of those things where we need Paul Tierney's the referee tomorrow, and I think what Arsenal fans and Spurs fans have to accept is that our referees, when it's Derby Day, they are going to let tackles go.
Yeah.
So, Bukayo Saka, the referee's not going to give you no protection. So get up and don't leave us short. And the same goes for Martinelli. Tackles are going to go in, and even with VAR, with VAR, as long as you tackle and play the ball and don't go off your feet, then I think it will let things go. But the situation is that you don't want some of our defenders or our players giving them a decision to make, because right now there's no hiding for VAR. Look at Ayling. Last week, the referee missed that, but now VAR, boom, send him off. It could happen here. Yeah,
and it's that easy, isn't it? It's a fucking look. VAR, it is like it's grand out up top. You know, it's you can't run away from that. And Granit Xhaka and all our players got to know that. Plus, don't forget, look, I don't think VAR, to be honest, in my opinion, has made the game much better, especially in England, because to be perfectly honest, the referees are a shambles, and the guys that got in the VAR are even fucking worse. In
Europe, it's better though. In Europe, because the referees in Europe are better, because you know, I think the problem is that English referees have got one of the biggest problems they ever have. They're encouraged to let the game flow, whilst in Europe, a foul's a foul, handball's handball. No, there's no like benefit of that. It is what it is. So what will happen is that there's consistency, because European referees, for instance, if me and like Marty went for a tackle, if my studs are up, that's a foul in Europe, because European referees don't like the studs up. But if in England, that's open to interpretation. So that's when you do get consistency, because you know European referees referee to the letter of the law. There is no controversy. The only time you see a bad European referee is when he's so bent, or he's got this preconceived idea of a player and a team. Yeah. But 9 out of 10 times you've got no complaints. No complaints. But in our game, there's always going to be controversies, because they let the game flow too much. One's letting the game flow. The other one is being officious. And the one who's being official is probably doing a job properly. We slag him off because the other guy lets the game flow.
There's no balance. There's no balance in this, and I find that all the time, that I can't find I can't draw a line in the sand and say this. It's all grey in England, guys. I had one more thing, right? Now the world class manager shit. I hear that a lot, right? And no. I hear shit about world class manager, and world class manager, right? Now I have world-class manager versus a novice. You guys can agree, a novice, never managed before, right? I mean, fuck. Now, if this novice manages to get a win over this world-class manager, could we say there's two things? Do we blame Conte and say he's fucked it up, or do we just say Spurs effect? And do we give this novice a little bit of respect? That's my question. It's 2 parts.
Go on, Marty.
And that's opening up for Marty now. Remember, Instagram, really bad messages. Go for it.
Yeah, go do your best. No, look, I don't put Arteta down as a novice. I can say I wasn't a fan of him when he took over at Arsenal, but sort of became a fan. So it's like, yeah, you go there, but give the guy credit. You know, I think, I hate putting Tottenham and Arsenal in the same basket, but I think if you'd have said to these teams in November last year, you're going to be battling for a Champions League spot, and the other one will get Europa. We'd have snapped each other's arm off to take it.
Yeah.
So credit to Arteta for that. I mean, we had Nuno, and bad appointment. November night. We're ninth in the comp, right?
Oh, sure.
So if you'd have said to me then, oh, wait, I think I was the one after him. I think it's sort of on the list. I'm not quite sure, but so we get Conte and things happen. But even recently, Arsenal lost those 3 games in a row. I think there was Southampton, whatever. Had a tough run coming up. Everyone, and I was the same thinking, well, mate, they're really going to struggle now. And they clicked and they turned it around. That doesn't just happen just with the players deciding to play. That's Arteta stepping up and saying, okay, boys, we're doing this, whatever. So I don't put him in the novice category. Do I think he's a Conte? No. Maybe one day he might be. He takes Arsenal up, he does whatever, who knows. But I think the winner of this game, I think Tottenham are very predictable in what they'll do and how they'll try and play it. I think Arsenal will probably be relatively doing what they want to do. I think it'll come down to players. I think it'll come down to an individual. But I think at the end of the day, I mean, if Arteta wins this game or gets a draw of it and he's in Champions League, you've got to give the guy a massive pat on the back. And that's got to be the end of it.
And look, my personal viewpoint on him has shifted throughout the season. Some people call it flip-flopping. Other people like myself call it, being realistic and making comments on what you're seeing. I always say praise and criticize in isolation. Praise and criticize based on what I see. And my biggest criticism of Arteta since he took over has been that sometimes it takes him too long to make the changes that your everyday fan can see. You look at last season, we were all calling out for that creativity and for Emile Smith-Rowe to come into the team. Emile Smith-Rowe bursts onto the scene at Chelsea, propelled. I mean, he played before them, but that was like kind of a coming out match for him. And we then propelled from there. We knew we had to get rid of a lot of guys like Mustafi and stop playing them. And Lacazette was brought back into the team earlier this season because it wasn't working. And we had a really good run of form.
Martinelli too.
Now, Mo Elneny's come back in, who, with Thomas Partey out, we were experimenting with all sorts of things. We just needed to play a midfielder in midfield. So my criticism of Arteta is it always takes him too long. But on the flip side, he is starting to make the changes more quicker. He's starting to seem a little bit more flexible in terms of what he does. And the team is now fighting for 4th. Had you asked me mid-season if we were likely to get into the Champions League, I would have said no. So we have to have improved. Is he the best man long-term for us to go and compete for a Champions League or a title? No, I still don't think he is. But right now, he's doing a good job. And I agree. I don't know if he's a novice anymore. I think he's earned a little bit of respect on his name.
Yeah, I think both of you said, in terms of Conte as well, one of the things about Conte is at Tottenham, he's not a project manager. He's going to want a war chest. His currency is league titles.
Yeah,
and winning trophies. So, for instance, he's not. He's going to need a significant war chest. He's probably going to raid, his old clubs, Internazionale, maybe raid a few players who may be out of form, out of contract at Chelsea. But his mantra is, for me, I'm going to be here next season and the season afterwards. And whilst I'm here, this club, Tottenham Hotspur, has to go for the league. I only want players who can win the league.
Yeah, facts.
That means Levy has to be able to make that transition from being a very good businessman, where he's basically got you a fantastic deal for your stadium. He's got a good partnership with the NFL, and commercially he's done fantastic for you. But now you can't get the world-class manager and just give him and basically give him a Europa League team. You can't do that. You've got Harry Kane, you've got Song there, so you've got to build a team around them, and you've got to get back to the mix between the good things you're doing under the Poch, but marry it up with the good things you're doing off the ball in terms of your work from the ball, and you have to be seen to bridge that gap. at Tottenham. You just have to. You wasted Mourinho. You blatantly wasted him.
Yeah.
He got a lot of criticism for the way he played, but you wasted his time and wasted a golden nugget manager. Now, in terms of Arsenal, obviously one of my biggest objections to Arteta is the fact that he's learning on the job, and I think a club of our size shouldn't have a manager learning on the job and trying and raking out mistakes, because what happens when he's learning on the job, you get 2 8th place places, and then you get to the where we are now. My vision for Arsenal is probably the vision that Marty should have with Tottenham. Arsenal should not be seen as a Europa League club or Champions League club with the players, and we should be getting the caveat is players who can win us the league, and that's where the standards have got to come from. And Arteta has to be maintain those standards. If he doesn't, he has to step aside. I still think that if we get those kind of big players that we need, his man management's got to improve, because right now Arteta, in terms of his tactics and his coaching, reminds me of David Moyes, because everyone associates Arteta with Pep Guardiola and Arsene Wenger, but he played his best football under David Moyes at Everton, and the way his tactics, the way he played, is a David Moyes team. We've got to move away from that now, and if it means saying to Tommy Ashley, mate, we need a world-class right back in the as a for a TAA, then so be it. If it means Kieran Tierney, sorry mate, I can't rely on you, mate. Good player and everything, but you're always injured. But we want this guy who's top class, because I need to win the league, then so be it. If that means Smith Rowe has to go, then so be it. That's where Arsenal's got to be. We've got to be a elite club, showing the titles. But one thing about Arsenal, Tottenham, what they need to do, and I think Spurs are ahead of us because they got Patrici, so Arsenal need to get rid of Edu.
Yeah.
Get rid of it and get a world-class setup, because one of the reasons why Spurs have allowed Man City and Chelsea to get ahead of you is because it's not just the money that they both had, it's the ambition and the vision. Plus, so what's happening right now, if you want to be have a good global fan base, you've got to win trophies, because Arsenal, if we carry on like we are now and make ourselves a Europa League club, then all that money we get in merchandise, right? We eventually, people who want to be associated with a club are going to say, well, hang on here. Yeah, we know you're big in the 30s and the 70s, with Arsene Wenger, but you ain't won a trophy or a league for 25 years. So, sorry.
Yep. We
only want to show associated winners, because the best way to make your club valuable and viable is winning trophies. Man City and Chelsea are viable and on the best value because they win trophies. Yeah. And that's what Arsenal and Tottenham need to aspire to. If we don't, then what happens is that we said it with Arsene Wenger, we put all our eggs in one basket, top 4 club. What happens? Once you aim for put your eggs in one basket, you can only go backwards.
Yeah.
And then what will happen is it becomes a catastrophe. So we're in a catastrophic state, because our ambition, everyone's going to be celebrating the top 4, but what they need to do is think, well, hang on, we're not a top 4 club. We didn't win anything this season. Aiming standards. Even if you don't believe it, you have to have that mentality. Arsenal have had a bad season, even though we finished 4, because we didn't win nothing. Because trophies gets you that mentality to win something, and that's where Arsenal have to improve. Doesn't matter where we finish, 3rd or 4th, we have to improve with the personnel of player. The manager has to improve. If he doesn't, pack your bags, because we maybe we can get a bigger note to come in. That's my vantage point. Arteta doesn't represent the values I have for this football club. And it's not personal. It's just football.
It's literally about getting the best man for the job. But I think that Arteta actually embodies more what the Cronkies want from a manager.
Yeah.
And I think he suits their model better, their business model. And I don't know if you see it, but I look at it as money saved on player wages, money saved on even signings this season. Everyone talks 150 million. 150 million is not big money for Arsenal. They can spend that every single fucking season. You check out their dollars and cents world. 150 is a walk in the park. They can spend that bare minimum every season without a problem. So before anyone gets on the back of 154 million this season and Partey, remember, our squad, when Wenger left it to us, was a shambles. It took a world-class manager in Unai Emery to bring that back. You now have a novice, I'll say it, who has been appointed by Stan the man and his son. They've overseen it because, to be perfectly honest, if you own a business that's worth about 1.9 billion at the time, you're going to be the one saying, "Okay, we'll give the job to you." They have to. So this is where I say to people, remember, if we get rid of Arteta, I want Allegri. I want someone big.
Yeah.
If I'm not going to I'm going to go and it's going to be Sam Allardyce, right? And you bring me that fucker, right? And it's like, oh, he's going to do the job. And all he's going to be doing is doing what Arteta said. The Cronkies are backing me. The Cronkies are backing me. No, I want someone to have the attitude of Ragnick, who comes out and says, I asked for players. The board said no. And that's what Arteta could have said when it came to the January transfer.
Didn't Jose say that at Tottenham? Hence the fact he was sacked for insubordination.
But I want a manager to come out and say, this is it. And I want an owner to say, well, I need him as a manager and I have to shut the fuck up because without him, I can't win trophies. So owners have to look at it and say, well, if I don't back him, he's going to open his mouth, but I can't do any better because I need a good manager. At the moment at Arsenal, I have owners that couldn't care less about the football, but care more about the bank balance and budgeting and increasing tickets by 4%, right? 4%. They increase ticket prices by 4%.
Well, they can. The demand's doing it, and they're going to point to things like COVID and everything. And I was thinking, hang on, man,
come on.
One of my biggest objections, and why I did the Instagram video about a couple of months ago, is that we're in a situation where a lot of our fans have taken a season ticket holiday because they were furloughed during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Some of them even lost their jobs, their businesses. So hang on here. The match day fan is what looks good for you on TV. you know full well that they're virtually a sure thing because their love of the football club eclipses whoever's the manager is. The managers don't like myself. I don't like Arteta, I don't rate him, but Arsenal means too much to me for me to walk away. And from match day, so with Wenger and all those things. So I'm a sure thing. But hang on here, I didn't get furloughed.
Yeah,
I still had my job, and me and my wife still kept our jobs.
You're able to go.
Our family took a statement, so we can afford to go. But hang on here, one of your fan base needs your help. We need your help. We need you to because you're making so much money. We understand that that you lost a lot of money by having no fans in the stadium. We get that, respect that, but help us out a bit here because we can't afford to meet the challenges. We've been furloughed. Our businesses have gone to a point where we're permanently closed because of the pandemic, and some of us have to get new jobs. So give us a break.
And that's fair enough. And I don't think I saw any of this from the Cronkies don't care about that, and that's what hurts me. But you know what? I see the Cronkies, I see all that guys, and I say to myself, that's a big problem that nobody wants to look at. It's a lot easier to look at the manager. Now, I was thinking, I want to ask each and every one of you guys what your predictions are. Serious predictions, and I'm going to hold you to these. Right?
What, for tomorrow?
Yeah. Yeah, I got to know because I'm putting bets down and I need to make some money because I'm poor and I'm in Australia. All right? So make it good because I need money. I'm poor.
Right? How come Brits go there because they think your country's rich, or they go there because there's massive land?
See, because you got me.
Next question, Kenny. Next question, mate.
Yeah. It's a bit like I got nothing for you. You got me.
Hey, think about it. I like I said, I don't just see Australia as the Sullivans, Neighbours, Home and Away, or Prison Cell Block H, or other programs that we've had over the years, like Richmond Hill and everything. I look at the political side of your country, and also cricket, isn't it? Your great players like Lily,
doing
Marsh,
a demo job of the English squad,
Morley,
like really manhandling the English squad, like fucking. Anyway,
I mean, ever since 1989 in the cricket, I mean, you've been murdering us in the cricket until all your players got all together. Then we started merging you again. And then all of a sudden, you've got a bit of a squad there, and poor old Justin Langer just wanted you to be Australian, and all of a sudden, you Australians are now taking ice baths, meditating. I mean, Pat Cummins, bless him, but bloody hell, he doesn't sound like a bloody Australian. He sounds like someone who's, I don't know. He sounds. I don't know how to describe him, but he doesn't. He's not your Alan Border and your Shane Warne.
He sounds Tasmanian.
Ouch.
Hey, we love it. We love all that. Don't get us wrong. Is he no?
Oh, fucking hell. I'm not certain, but he does sound fucked.
That's how he comes across the police, Patty Cummins.
Oh, fuck.
You know what?
I'm with you. He sounds like a fucking...
Before Kenny moves us on to politics, because... I don't mind cricket.
Let's not talk about Boris Johnson, because I opened the door in it and Boris Johnson kissed
fuck, mate. That guy looks like he's on the wacky tobacco fucking all day.
Patel.
He's making a decision. He's like, guys, give me a sec. We're fucked. It's a pandemic. We're shutting shit down. See us. He's just fucked. So he looks fucked, honestly. But so what do you reckon? Like, honestly, I really want to know. I really want to know what you guys are thinking. Who's going to come out with a friggin' with a scoreline and say it's Arsenal for a win? Who's going to be first?
I'll go first. I'll go first. I'm going to keep this short, sharp, and sweet, because the reason behind my prediction is all the things we've discussed and my concerns over Arsenal's defence and the pressure on Spurs. I'm thinking we're going to see a 1-1 draw. To be completely honest, and that's a result that I would be content with, considering the context. I'm thinking 1-1. Harry Kane, he always scores against us.
It's true.
Probably a pen. And I'm hoping Saka to hit one.
What do you reckon, Kenny Ken?
I'm going 2-2, because I think that both teams, right, they got serious concerns when it comes to like midfield and defence. So I just think that just as much as I think Martinelli and Saka are going to be having a lot of joy, and they're going to stretch and scare the life out of your fullbacks, I just look at Kulusevski and I just think the way he drags people in areas they don't belong, they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And then he cuts in, and then there's space, and Harry Kane or something to walk into. And a lot of teams have been very generous or incompetent against us when we've been making mistakes. I don't see Son and Kane missing those, gifts and passing them up. But then again, Dyer and Romero have to play their best football, and they have to make sure that they tell Emerson Royale, mate, no walkies, mate.
Yeah.
No time for we're going on little adventures. You stay close to me. If they don't do that, then I think I see both, and our goalkeepers as well. You look at Ramsdale. He's coming. He's started really, really well, but last few times he's got really excited, dodgy. He thinks that. I think he treats himself like a rush goalie sometimes.
Yeah,
and you know what Lloris is like. Trying to kick the ball out. Eddie Nketiah will love that, won't he?
Oh, for sure, man. For sure. Marty, what are your predictions for your boys and my boys? And look, you got to look, honest opinion. Don't try and keep it all fucking nice and lovely and everyone trying to make it out like we're all mates. Go on, tell me what you think.
Oh, no. Hate you all. No, we don't. Spurs will win the game 3-1. I'm going on the fact we're going to get a good start. I can see it being a 1-0 up or 2-0 up, and then the second half will just be, like a tight 1-1 kind of. So I can see a 3-1. But in saying that, it all depends on the start. And if Tottenham start on the right foot and we get a goal away and we put the pressure on, I can see the 3-1. If we don't score early, there'll be a goal in it either way, and I couldn't tell you who's going to score it. So I know I'm in the minority, but fingers crossed for a Spurs 3-1.
It's all right.
We've got to win, innit?
Oh,
got to win.
He has to win.
We've got to win it. We've got to win it.
Because we take it away from him, and then it'll be taking everything away all over again, like we always have. Yep. For me,
what the biggest conundrums are. If we fluff our lines, on Wednesday. Sorry, for tomorrow, and then we get held at Newcastle.
Yeah.
Then what will happen is that Spurs have got Norwich away last game of the season, Marty, and we've got Everton at home. Can you imagine if Everton need to stay in division and need to make sure? And Norwich is just
Fucking
basically
Lampard.
well, Norwich have been on holiday since the first game of the season. Let's face it.
Yeah.
But hang on. Who are we talking about here? It's Tottenham playing Norwich, and the last game that they're going to have in the Premier League at Carrow Road, and Tottenham all they need to do is get a point.
Wrong.
It's 2-0 Norwich.
They're horrendous. They are so bad. They're so bad. Don't get me wrong. They'll huff and puff, just like like the Wolves. But they are like made out of straw, mate. You're going to ruin them. Yeah. They're bad.
Yeah.
You know what I said yesterday at the program at Norwich. I said, when Norwich get promoted and they come up as champions, give them 2 more playoffs to get in the Premiership. Don't let them in.
Yeah. They got to prove it, and I agree with that. When Burnley drop, when Burnley go down, the same thing for them. The same thing for fucking Burnley, because they're fucking time wasters, mate. They're like another Derek Chisora. I don't want to know, right?
Exactly. Oh,
swear to God. I'm gonna go. Honestly, my gut from the get-go says 2-1, but to my lot.
Who to? Oh, to us.
To us, and the reason why. And the reason why...
I thought you were going to talk some sense for a while.
No, I'm talking sense. I'm talking dollars too. And the reason why, all right, is because I honestly think that you guys are going to get stuck between your midfield and defence, and we're going to run rampant in there. And I honestly think in this game, this is where Martinelli's going to score. I think Martinelli's going to be in the back of the net, and I think Nketiah's going to score again. And I think Saka's going to be the guy distributing the ball. I honestly think Ben Davies is going to get in card trouble early on with Saka. And that's going to allow him to walk around. And
I'm just thinking of my knees. I'm just thinking of my knees and my arms. Because what we call down it. We call it limbs here. Let's just say, without running a marathon and doing the decathlon, Chelsea away was very physical. In terms of I felt like I did a London Marathon, because the pain afterwards, and that's just celebrating a goal. So if that's happening, I've probably got to take about a week off work.
I think you got to warm up. I think you got to warm up. I'm telling you, warm up. Start taking some more creatine, so it allows your body to be ready. Creatine load creatine. You'll be fine. All right, you'll be perfectly fine.
Well, guys, I'm sure you're going to get yourself down here as well. And if you're lucky enough to go to a derby, let me tell you something right now. Make sure that you've got padding and around your knees and everything, because it's going to be limbs. It's your limbs. And if you're wearing glasses, make sure that they're actually strong glasses, and they got stronger. Like I said, they're neat. Like pins in them, because if they ain't, they're everywhere. Frames, you know what I mean?
Oh, fuck, mate. Look, honestly, I'd love to get down there. I'd love to get over your way, but we never can tell when we're going to get in there. But you know what? It'll be fun to see us free fucking jumping in between Spurs games and fucking Arsenal games.
You from England? What part of England are you from?
Yeah.
Born?
I was born in Elsenham, Epping, in Essex.
Oh, Tottenham heartland, no wonder. It makes sense.
Born and bred.
All that area around Epping, Waltham Forest, even though it's in the Essex, East London area, you're all Spurs there. And sometimes you have Spurs and West Ham in those same areas. I get it now.
Mate, I want them done, mate. I want them done. I want them done as bad as I want Spurs done, to be honest. And that's me being fucking... What, mate? Look, I don't like you lot. I don't, mate. I know I take advantage of you sometimes, Marty, and I have my way with you, but that's not love. That's not love, mate. That's me taking your manhood. And my boys are going to come and do the same thing at your fucking stadium. They're going to do that. They're going to take your fucking manhood. It's going to be bad. Harry Kane crying and doing his lap of honour saying, I'm leaving again. Oh, that's going to happen all over again. Yeah.
You know what I love about all 4 of us here is that there's a lot of Arsenal fans who mistakenly think that Man United are bigger rivals than Tottenham. Chelsea's a bigger rivals than Tottenham. And I just think, hang on here.
Nah.
You're only talking about your school days where you had Man United fans giving you stick. Well, I'm sorry. what happened in the playground. It's nothing to do with Arsenal, Tottenham. It's always Spurs.
No.
They're our rivals. Always will be.
Absolutely.
Always have been.
With-
You know,
with this far
they're the
apart.
team I hate the most. You know,
it's not changed.
Chelsea will never be our rivals. You know, neither be Man United and Liverpool. They'll be our competitors for winning trophies. But in terms of our rivals, it's always Tottenham. It's always Spurs.
I don't think it's going to change.
Agreed.
I don't think that'll change. But guys, on that note, I'm going to wrap this one up, guys. I really appreciate you guys jumping on. Really do. I'm hoping for. Sorry, mate.
No, Marty's British, and he's English.
You like him now?
I don't know. So you know when the Ashes, you know last December, were you supporting England or the Aussies? Depends what time you left
stupid.
England.
That's a good
Naturalised
boy.
Aussie for the cricket.
Don't blame you.
So-
The England cricket team is so shit. It's so shit to a certain extent, especially a test team. I mean, the only reason why Ben Stokes is our captain is because there was no one else to take over, because Ben Stokes doesn't want the job. But he had to take the job because we were going to get Rory Burns out first ball in the first test, first ball, diamond duck, first test. Which meant we knew we were going to lose the Ashes, or you're going to have someone like Johnny Bairstow who headsbutts cheats.
You guys have got no chance, mate. You guys are a fucking shambles. You guys are a fucking shambles, and you're going to be for 10 more years. But look, guys.
Anyway, my bosses want to wonder where I am, so I'm going to have to leave you guys. But Scott, Marty and Ozzy going to keep in touch like you normally do anyway. You're going to have a lot. Marty, don't go in a hiding. I think there's going to be quite a few people going to find you if we win tomorrow.
Bloody oath, mate.
I'll be here, mate.
When we win.
That's it. Well, on that note, guys, I think it's going to be from us and all the guys on the panel here, guys. It's fucking Uru. It's Uru and an Arsenal win. Uru, guys.
Whatever that means, Uru.